Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stephanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? So today on the She Builds Show, we have another beautiful person named Stephanie. Now, her name is spelled practically identical to mine, but there's no E at the end. So she's Stephanie with an I. She is the owner and lead residential designer of, is it Domani? Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Domani
you got it right.
Home Design. Heck yeah. So welcome to the She Builds Show, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so thrilled to be here. I cannot wait.
I am beyond thrilled to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live and who is in your family? That's what I want to know.
Okay. I didn't really prep you with any of that, did I? I live in northern Utah, and I've been married for 27 years. I can't.
Goodness,
after 25, you kind of forget.
You have really good lighting.
Yes, it's the lighting. Yeah. No, so I've been married for a while. We have 4 kids together. Our oldest just turned 22 last month.
Wow.
And he's going to college. I have another one who's 19 and then 17 and 14-year-old daughter at the end. So,
oh my goodness. So Is it 3 boys and a girl?
3 boys and a girl.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. God bless your heart.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I have an 18-year-old son that he's my stepson, but he's heading off to college and this whole transition of like graduation, and it's a lot. And he's such a good kid. And I'm scared to death of my daughter. Like, I'm scared. She's 10 and I'm like, oh, she's all me and a bag of chips and I'm in trouble.
I worked really hard. I have been trying to put in a lot of time before she became a teenager so that we...
Yeah. Is it going well? Because I'm going to make her sign a contract. I'm like, okay, we're 10 and we're not going to get an attitude in 2 or 3 years. Like, we're going to stay tight. Right. And she's like, oh, Mom, I would never do that to you. I'm like, you liar.
Yeah. I've had kids who said, if I act like that, let me know. And then when I let them know, they're like, excuse me? No, I'm not acting like that. I know. I had an older brother that definitely led the path for me of what not to do. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk like that because I still want my door on my bedroom, you know? Okay, so what is Domani Home Design? Tell me about that. Okay, well, I studied architecture and interior design in college, and because I graduated in interior design, I thought that was the path for me. So I did that for a little while. Mm-hmm. And it was when I started going to these consultations and people were asking for help with things that I thought could have been solved during the build process, that I had like my reawakening, right? And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, this is not for me. I definitely need to be back in architecture. That is where my original love was. And that is where I am meant to be. My father-in-law was actually a general contractor, and he introduced me to a CAD program that my husband and I learned kind of a little bit together. He doesn't know it anymore, but to design our own house, and things kind of took off from there. I had a neighbor up the street who was a builder. He knew I used the same program he did. So he recruited me to come work for him. I worked for him for over 10 years. And then after a while, I decided, it's time to be back home with my kiddos. Even though I was just working part-time, I just knew that I needed to be there when my kids got home from school and have a lot more flexibility and autonomy. And so I had always had that dream, like I went to school thinking that I wanted a career that was something I could kind of like own my own business, work from home. I just went out on my own designing custom homes for people for new construction. And back then I was like, I don't need a website. I don't need anything fancy. I just want to draw floor plans for people. And it's kind of taken off from there into something a little bit beyond what I ever imagined, but I love every minute of it. Yes. It was kind of like, I know, I actually looked at and worked with some people like in 2005, we talked about starting a business then. And, I prayed really hard about it. And the answer that I got was not now. Like, this is not the right time for you. And for some reason, the number 15 came to me, and it was like 15 years from now will be a good time. And you won't be too old then.
Right.
Being like in your mid 40s, late 40s, that sounded pretty old. And I just felt like it won't be too late. Everything will work out fine. And it was almost exactly 15 years later.
Wow. I just love how God works. And it's like, when you really do listen to that, like, internal voice, there's such a guidance there. And like, it's one thing to put a pause on something for a week, because that's about how my extends of my patience. But to be like, okay, sure.
To be
15 years.
Okay, I'm not going to pursue anything for 15 years. Yeah. And, and I loved working for the builders. I learned a ton from them. It was exactly where I needed to be and to set me up where I was eventually meant to be.
Yeah. So when did you kind of launch the business?
So I left working for the builders at the end of 2015. And there was a little bit of overlap, and I had more and more people reaching out to me to ask if I could draw their floor plans for them and design their home. And of course, while I'm working for somebody else, the answer was always no. But as I kept getting more and more people calling me, it was kind of like that little nudge,
Yeah, it's like, okay, you'll be okay. We have people.
It'll be okay. Come on, you can do this. And so I got brave, and it was right. I knew it deep down that the time was right. They needed to be free from me. I needed to pursue my own thing. And it was we parted ways on good terms and all that kind of thing, and they were able to kind of take their company and their business in a direction that I probably wasn't helping them to achieve.
Right.
And I was able to kind of pursue my own from there.
So what does it look like now? What is who's in your business? What is your role? What are you doing on a daily basis? And what does it look like? I have 2 projects a year and they're 20,000 square feet, or like, what is it? What are you doing?
It is ever changing. That's all I have to say. That's the big picture.
It's Utah.
It is always changing. And and I feel like I'm kind of always being nudged into a certain role or capacity, or like offering for my services. Typically for Domani Home Design, it's usually just me. I have a couple of part-time assistants that are virtual and remote, and they help out as I need, as they're available. And we typically, so I went and when my first couple of years, I did, maybe 6 projects in a year. And then I got to a place where I was doing like 15 in a year. And that felt really, really crazy and busy. I got to a place where I was starting 2 new projects, 2 new home designs every month. And I was buried. I was totally swamped. So I had to scale back to the 1 project a month, except for December, take December completely off to kind of catch up, regroup, and spend time with family. And the projects are usually second-time homeowners. So typically I'm not designing for first-time homeowners. I'm typically designing for people who are looking to upgrade, they've been in the starter home, they've got a couple of kids, and they're ready to spread their wings.
And they know what they want.
Yes, they know what they want.
Yeah.
For the most part. And so that's typically what we've been focusing on for all these years.
When a client comes to you, what is like the extent of what you do? Kind of what the process is for a client? Because to me, a woman's perspective in architecture is different. And when I talk to clients, it's like, who's in your family and how do you live in this space? And, I want to know how the kids are going to run through the house and slam the doors and which way they're going to swing. I'm thinking about living in it, where a lot of people are like, oh, this needs to be 2x6 wall and blah, blah, blah. So tell me, is it really like a boutique custom experience with you? Is that kind of how you view it?
100% and more. Yeah. I mean, I call it, like the extraction, getting the story from the people. And I have to know all those things. I ask really awkward questions like, how many people will be showering in the shower together? I need to know, are you going to have any more kids? I got to know these things.
Because everyone will be in your bathroom and only your bathroom.
Yes. So I ask all the questions, like, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? How do you live? Do you entertain? How many kids do you have? Do you have pets? Do you have special needs? Like, ask as many extraction discovery questions as possible to get that full story. And when I know their story, then we can design something that is just for them. Right. And it will fit all of their needs and goals. And, it's like designing their best life for them.
Yeah, around
their built space. I think a lot of people just don't quite realize how much their built environment impacts them, for good or for bad. I was just recently in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was just in love with all the homes and everything down there. And of course, I was gushing over all the architecture all the time, to the point that my husband's like, do we exist? I don't know.
Oh, can you stop? I need to take a picture of that house. Yeah.
Exactly. He's like, well, you're gonna have all these photos of architecture and homes and none of us. But yeah, and to me, I just said, people just don't realize how much architecture really impacts them. And they just know that something isn't working. They don't like this. They don't like that. They feel uncomfortable. This is awkward. And they don't relate it at all to the built environment or their surroundings and stuff. And I think it plays such a significant role in our lives that I want to make sure that it's nurturing and supportive and conducive to all the things that will make a person successful in their mind of what success looks like. So it's totally
beautiful. Custom. I love your deep passion for it. It's incredible.
It's ridiculous.
No, it's amazing. And you know what you're doing is you're absolutely living your gift, because this is what you were made to do, and to be able to do it so well. And I just can't imagine how happy your customers are, to be able to dream up something and have somebody that cares so much about what's surrounded by them and where they're looking and how much sunlight's coming in and, the way that it flows through the house. I think that's just such a beautiful, beautiful gift of how people live. And I wish you lived next to me. So that I can because I constantly am changing things in the field, because I get in and I'm no, take this wall down.
I think that that's totally fair, because as much as we try to do 3D virtual stuff, sometimes you just don't know until you're actually in the space, or whatever, looking and stuff. And you can't quite capture what the view is like from the sofa in the great room as you're looking out the window. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
3D doesn't quite give you that yet. So I really trust my builders to be able to do those kinds of things. I want good builders who can do that, who can make those adjustments and those tweaks in the field.
So because you do have the interior design background, do you offer that service as well for your clients, where you're doing floor plan? Are you doing any project management situation with the builder, interior design? How far do you stretch yourself?
Yeah, well, it took me a while to realize that as far as, specifications and doing, selections for materials and different things like that, that's just not, I don't have that same passion as I do for the architecture side of it. And there's so many other people who have that gift and can really pull a space together with all the tactile stuff and the surfaces, that I always like to refer my clients out. I strongly recommend that they hire a designer to help them, because I think that the amount of money that they spend on an interior designer actually comes back to them in cohesiveness and savings and all, being confident in the decisions and all those sorts of things. So the way that I feel like interior design impacts me, though, is it helped me to understand about lighting. It helped me to understand about the human interaction with the built environment. It helped me to understand about flow and focal point and all those, principles and elements of design. I hadn't really dove into that as much in my architectural classes. My architectural classes were focused on the lettering and how to draw the floor plans and proper architectural techniques and things like that. And we didn't get into, the humanity behind it and the sciences that way. And so that's where I just love that marriage between the two fields that I studied. Is it came together so beautifully and perfectly.
Yeah, because it really does. I think that there are, or I've encountered a lot of architects that, just draw to the code,
right.
and not for living.
Right. So I have my own set of codes that I
Perfect. Okay, so tell me, I want to know about the house that she built not that long ago. We interviewed Stephanie, the other Stephanie. We need to be like the Stephanie trio. We can, if you don't want the PH spelling, you've got, me. If you want it, you got her. If you don't want to E, you got you. I mean, like we got all the bases covered.
We got it covered. Yeah.
So tell me, what was that like? And how I just want to know about from your perspective, because I saw the finished product and the amount of detail and built-ins and oh my gosh.
Did you see it in real life?
No, not in real life,
okay,
in pictures, but
okay.
I mean, I could tell that somebody did a good job.
It was such an amazing project. So I joined the Professional Women in Building in Utah right about the time, like they already had the idea and everything for this project, but they were just barely getting started. They were trying to find the land and trying to decide what to do about the floor plan. And I thought it was going to be a custom design. So I was so excited. I was able, it's like, I'll be able to offer my services.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally did get the property. They had to use the builders one of their set plans, production plans. And so I was a little bummer. I said, can I just please review the floor plans? And so what happened was we took that base floor plan and we applied my standards, like I was talking about, 4-foot wide stairs and open concept and different things like that. And we were able to tweak it and we had to keep the outside so it fit in the community. Right. But we were they let us do anything we wanted with the floor plan. So I was able to take it and give it this really awesome master suite, like this open loft at the top of the stairs, a full spa-like master bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fun. And then all of the women that worked together on it were totally, totally skilled in their trades and in their craft and amazing to work together. Everyone was, volunteering and contributing in any way that they could. It was such an amazing project to be a part of. And
that's so
I'm
awesome.
So thrilled about it. It was really fun.
Oh, that's so cool. And such like a fun way to just meet so many incredible women all over the country and, do such a fun project together. Tell me, what is probably, reading through your website and the work that you've done, what do you think is like the most important, like personal belief or value in your business that like you just don't compromise on? Like what's really important to you? What kind of guides you in that? Is it like, I'm okay with saying no. What is the value that's like, this is where I draw the line and I'm always this person. I'm just curious.
Okay. Ooh, that's good. Because there are several, and I guess they kind of all tie together a little bit, but it's just, I guess the top one is the customer experience. And that can come in a couple of different ways. It's like the customer experience means that I won't take on an additional rush project if it's going to compromise my ability to focus on the people that are current clients right now.
Right.
So there are people who will contact me about like hiring me to do their work. And I'm maxed out right now and they're in a hurry. They need to start ASAP. And I just say, look, my top priority is my current clients. And if that means that I have to say no to you, then that's what that means. And so many people respect that notion because they know that then even if they have to wait 6 months or whatever to work with me, they know that the wait will be worth it because when it's their turn, I'm all in.
Right. You've given them your full attention.
Yep.
And did you have to learn that the hard way? Or have you always been pretty clear on boundaries?
Like one of your other guests said, I recognize the great gift that I have in that my husband is the provider for our family.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything that I do is kind of bonus. We don't rely on my income. And so I never felt that urgency or that, like anxiety about needing
saying work. I have to say yes because I'm not getting an E. I'm not going to be okay.
Exactly.
You just really felt like you were in a blessed position or
Totally.
stable position to be able to kind of set it up however you want.
But the thing that I think that's ironic about that whole thing is it put me into a natural mindset state of that abundance of, that I have exactly what I need.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that comes to me is a gift and a privilege. And so by being in that natural state, it helped me to really focus on that customer experience and what it was like, and to know that I could just go all in and just, kind of pass that gift and that blessing onto them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Does that make sense? So
absolutely. Yeah. Rather than coming from a place of scarcity and fear and, oh my gosh, if I don't get this job and I have to beg them for it or whatever, then you
right.
just, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that just kind of passes on. And I mean, I hope that I do it well. I seem to have clients who like to refer their friends and their family to me. All of my work, I would say the good majority of it comes through word of mouth. And so I take that feedback and say, well, they must have had a good experience. And we try to get reviews and stuff like that. And people are so, so kind always. And I actually end up feeling like my clients become lifelong friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
I can call them up. I've had clients who have come on photo shoots with me, and some other clients were hiking buddies now and different things like that. So I just love human connections so much. So I want to always be nurturing that connection in any way I can.
Yeah, putting them first. That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. I think I can tell you are just a very kind soul, and I can see why you would make people happy. And you probably just pretty chill most of the time, where a lot of things don't upset you. I guess if you have 3 boys, you're just you've got to be patient.
Exactly. Those are easy, but no. Yeah, it's so true. And that is, that's the other thing. It's just I tell people all the time, this is your home. It's not about my work. It's about your home. So whatever feedback you give me, it's about your home. So you can't offend me, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You can't. I'm not upset that you don't like where I put this or that or made this that size. Right.
The only time that there's any, offense or anything is when there's any sort of personal attack.
Yeah.
But that's so few and far between that it's
right. Well, and I feel like you probably been doing it long enough to, sorry, the yard guy, he's blowing the thing right outside my door. But you probably have a good sense, of feeling of people, whether or not to take their client on at the beginning. I've really learned that through the years, that when I really listen to nuances and the way that they treat their spouse and, just the communication and the interaction.
Yeah, how people are treating their spouse and the way that they talk to you and different things like that. You can kind of pick up on what their personality is. And
yeah, I just really try to be mindful of that, because I just want to make people happy. And I want to give them a beautiful experience, and they want to give them a beautiful product. And if they come in cranky butts from the get-go, I just kind of try to listen to that internal intuition. And I'm I'll say no. I'll be okay, I'm just probably not the right fit for you. And in a loving, send you out into the world way.
Yes.
But I feel I've had to learn that, the hard way too.
Yeah, I know that you have paid attention and, studied a little bit about different personality types and the color code and different things like that. And I have done the same thing. And if that is one thing that I could, help kind of
new
teach
people,
other people coming on, you might think it's all foo-foo and whatever, but that's a real thing. Get to know different personality types and
recognize them.
Yeah, be able to start reading people and recognizing body language and tone of voice and facial expressions and all those things. I used to tell my kids, all those ways of communicating really matter, because you can come to me and I can say, I love you.
Right.
and it probably doesn't really resonate because the words were there, but everything else wasn't. And so
right.
Just the way that we communicate with people. And sometimes people don't know that. And so I have to kind of whitewash what they're saying or how they're behaving or whatever. And just kind of let it go, or at least just understand and appreciate. They're just a get it done kind of person.
Yeah.
They're just going to be matter of fact.
Yeah.
They're
not going to be, no floofies on the email.
Yeah. And so I don't have to think that it's a personal attack. They're just down to business.
Right.
Fine. So being able to read people is huge.
Okay. So tell me about the square foot superhero. What is this? I was like looking at it and it looks like it's a course or something like that. And I'm like, just even if it is a course, is it a course?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, I think that's so cool that you took the time and the forethought and you did it. I was like, that is so cool. I want to know everything about it.
Oh, yeah. So I've always wanted to, well, I didn't always want to, but it got to a point where I needed to hire some help. And I just wanted somebody who could come in and be part-time and help out a little bit. And it's so hard to find people who have the education, the knowledge, the experience that you need, and the attention to detail. And I got to a place where it's just like, it's kind of hard to find people. What if I create a way that I can train people, about how to do the same kind of work? And then, as I mold that over, that idea that I'd like to say, God gave me that idea. The more I realized, I need to help other people know how to do this. My husband used to say, like, why are you training your competition? And that's one way
because there's more than enough work to go around. That's what I always say. I'm like, the more people I can teach, and like, I'm always like, you need to get your contractor's license, and you guys you need to go after it. You have enough experience, and like, I sent them a link and I told them where I go. Cause I'm like, there's more. Yeah. Like, bless others and have that helpful attitude, because honestly, it feels better to be that way than to be like, oh, I'm mad because you took my customer or whatever.
Right. I mean, well, and just going back to, are we the right fit for each other? The abundant mindset, all that stuff. The more I've been blessed with, the more I feel like I need to kind of like, I can't contain all those blessings. Right.
Right. Yeah.
I got to have some avenue to like funnel them out. And I've been working with an architect on a lot of projects, and he's trying to retire. And I said to him, "Okay, who do you recommend?" He's like, "Nobody." And I thought, that's so sad. He's such a gift and he knows so much, and he's got all these years of experience and wisdom behind him, and nobody to replace him.
Right.
And what a sad thing that is, like his legacy is lost once he retires. There's nothing coming behind him to kind of like carry on the awesome work that he does. And I just don't want that to happen. And, and honestly, there's so many people who want to do residential architecture and design, and there's not enough opportunities out there to learn the hands-on stuff that goes into the actual residential construction. A lot of architecture, interior design programs, they really kind of direct people towards commercial work instead of residential work. And so there's a little bit of a void. There's a little bit lacking as far as being able to teach people and train people in residential construction techniques and design and stuff. And so I just thought, you know what? I am blessed with all of the experience that I had working for the builders and doing it on my own and seeing, the results and the way that the business has grown and different things like that. I want to help teach other people. And there's a difference between just drafting, right? Yes. Because anybody can just take an idea or concept and put it into a CAD program. If you know the CAD program, you can draft it. And then there's a designer, or what I call a square foot superhero, somebody who extracts that story, somebody who's designing for the property, who is keeping the budget in mind, who is willing to work with the builders and landscape architects and the engineers and all that kind of stuff to make a really, really cohesive, all-encompassing custom project. That's a square foot superhero.
Okay.
Sure.
So what do people like? It look like there's a wait list and it's coming out. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. So we had a spring session that actually we're just wrapping up, I think, our last Q&A this week. And those students will be filled with all the knowledge and wisdom that I had to impart to them, and they'll be able to take that and run with it. And then we're going to...
How did it go? Like, how many did you get? And like, were you happy with it? And what did you teach them?
Yeah, for sure. So I 2 Last year, I had a total of 4 students. This spring, I had 11.
Oh my gosh.
It's perfect.
Doubling in measure.
We're going to launch again this fall with another session. And the cool thing about it is there's...
Is it like an 8-week course? Like, what is it?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, good
it's
guess.
An 8-week course. Yep. And there are pre-recorded classes. And then I teach that same content every week live, 1 day a week. It's for like an hour and a half a week. And then we also have a live Q&A session every week where we can come together and talk about, all the things that we're learning and then some. And
do you have them do practice drawings or what's the extent? I just know that so many listeners are going to be interested in, gleaning the knowledge that you have. And I think that's just such a beautiful way to do it, because I think a lot of, people, it feels like in your position or my position, my sole desire in life is to impart the knowledge that I have and to teach people and to inspire them and encourage them. Yes, go after your dream. Yes, whatever information I have. Yes, high five, sister. Whatever information I have, I want you to know, because that's silly for me to be small with it. And so I want to know a little bit more details, what would a student learn?
Yeah. Well, we go through the method that I came up with when I started to...
Wait, you call it the SMART method, or what do you call it?
Yeah, the smarter floor plan method. Yeah.
Does that stand for something?
Yeah, we take that through. Each letter of the word smarter stands for something. So S is, we talk about the site and the story. M, we talk about measurements. A is, alignments and adjustments. And R, we talk about getting the roof on, and we test things, and we go through the exteriors and the electrical, and then we do a review. So if somebody can come, I provide a sample plan that they can just use and recreate it on their own. Or if somebody comes and they have a project that they want to apply this method to, they can work this method with their plan that they've got, in mind or whatever.
So you're really teaching regular people how to integrate architecture with I don't know what other word, but living and breathing in the space. Is that kind of you're teaching this experience that you have and the knowledge that you've created? Is that kind of
so
how you see it?
I think I'm understanding you correctly. So it's just this is how I put together and work with my clients, how I put together a really high quality floor plan, a floor plan that's builder friendly, budget friendly, engineer friendly. And
stuff you're not going to learn in school.
Not going to learn this in school. This is not how they teach you. They teach you awesome stuff in school. Highly recommend school.
Yeah.
You can learn the CAD program, and you can learn the architectural techniques, and you can learn about the codes and all that kind of stuff in school. And I'm going to teach you how to apply it and put it into practice for your clients, and how to have a really good experience for your clients, how you can deliver a high quality product that gets that word of mouth. So you can kind of I call it building the pipeline funnel, right? So you can build this funnel of referrals, because, when you're talking about, I'm sure it's the same for you. We usually don't have repeat clients.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to build you a house every year.
Yeah. You're not going to come back on a regular basis. I have had a few repeat clients, but it's so rare. And so to deliver that exceptional experience and to impart your knowledge and educate your clients and help them, give them the best, I call it the front line of defense. We are the front line of defense when we do this residential design for people. We're the first people that they work with, the first people that they usually are talking to and stuff. And so I have to provide that front line of defense for them and to help make them aware of things that they need to watch out for, or what they need to know. And that kind of experience, it's not just drawing a floor plan. It's this whole experience that we need to give the clients. And that's what we're teaching in the Square Foot Superhero program.
Oh my gosh, that is so incredible. And I'm so proud of you that with everything that you have going on, that you were diligent and focused in creating this, because I know we can get pulled in 1,000 directions. And the fact that you had an idea and you took it through to completion, just high five and good job. That is hard to do. Because I'm I want to make a course. And I'm girl, when are you going to do that? Be realistic.
I won't lie. It is a lot of work, and it was hard, and it's kicking my butt every day for sure.
Yeah.
But again,
but it's so worth it, right? Like so worth it. My team and I, it is, because you just get to meet these people that, love what you do, and you get to share your knowledge with them. And like my team and I, we put on workshops every year, just like in-person workshops. Like we did one last year that was an electrical workshop. Like
I did not know this.
Yes. And so, but it makes me $0. Like I lose money, and but I do it because I'm like, this is what I want you to know how to do. And so they finally, like in our meeting this week, she's like, we need to pick a topic. Like we have to do it, because this is our team's way of like outreach. Like, this is how we want to love the world. This is how we want to show up in the world. And
so it's like your philanthropy.
Yeah. I'm like, I know we're not going to make money, but it is what I love to do. And of course, like beautiful things come from when you bless other people. And I firmly believe that, but it is like the thing that we love most. It's like the thing that exhausts us the most, and we are so tired, but like it is so rewarding. And so I'm just so proud of you.
In your business, it's hard for you to, like, I'm always looking for ways, at the, like the neighborhood auctions and stuff, and people are donating a gift basket or, a product from their business or whatever. They donate it so they can be auctioned. I'm like, I don't have anything. I want to be able to give something and to donate and be a part of this community outreach. So I think that that's so amazing and beautiful that you have found a way to provide that outreach. And to me, it's just, like a way of giving back.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and to me, it's like, I love seeing the people that like communicate with me on, social media or whatever, like in person. Like I want to give you a hug, and I want to encourage you, and I want to speak life over you. And I want you to like go after it.
When's your next one? I'm coming to California.
Yeah, where the girls set the date. I don't remember, but I will put it on Instagram.
Okay, let me know.
And we're going to I'm going to teach everybody how to build planter boxes. So we're going to have miter saws and the nail gun, and you can build as many, or I think we're going to have like 3. You're going to have a floor plan. You're going to have to measure, cut and nail it all together. And you can pick whatever kind you want to do, but you're going to have like, here's a set of plans, and how do we read it?
That is so cool.
So on just like a little mini scale. So it'll be fun. Last time was really fun. We did the electrical one, and everyone was like, okay, we need a week off, but that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, well, tell the people, where can anybody, if they're either in Utah or not, because obviously you have this other amazing online course, tell the people where they can find you or follow you.
Hey, the easiest way is to just hit me up at Domani Home Design on all social platforms and pretty much anywhere. So DomaniHomeDesign.com, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and LinkedIn even. Can find me at all the places. To learn more about the Square Foot Superhero course, easy. It's just learn.domanihomedesign.com. So you just add the word
Domani is
Domani.
Yeah, Domani.
It's Italian.
Is that what it is that you're like? Is that, where'd that come from?
It's Italian. It's the Italian word for tomorrow.
Oh.
And there's all sorts of fun things. If you mix up the letters, it spells domain.
Oh, yeah. Duh. That's cool. Okay, well, Stephanie, my goodness, this has been such a pleasure to get to know you and to chat with you and to learn about what you do. And you are just killing it, doing an incredible job. I love what you put out into the world. And you know what, the impact and the creation in your gift is something that is going to last generations and lifetimes, because it's permanent and it's beautiful, and keep killing it.
You are so kind. It was such a pleasure to talk with you today. I loved every minute of it.
Yay. Okay.
And you're such an example to all of us. So thank you for doing what you do. I just love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks for joining me today on the She Builds Show. My name is Stephanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Builds swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.